Of a late start here today. We're going to be starting our live stream in just a minute. I have one of my dear friends on, and he's going to be a great person to talk to today, my dear friend Jase Souder. So I just want to kind of kick off a few things before we get started and kind of get through some of the preliminaries here on our new web stream. We're going to be doing our broadcasting every week now on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So we're going to try to stick to a noon schedule on Pacific time for that, 3 p.m. Eastern. And so if you can join us, that would be great. The best way to do that, just in case you ever forget what our schedule is, and I'm going to put this up on our screen right here, is to like and subscribe. And I'm going to do a little quick screen share here, just so that everybody can see this. And I'll put this right up here, actually. And so if you go to our website, we're working on getting our specialized YouTube channel set up right now, and so we're waiting on the approval for our official domain name for that. But for right now, you can just find us right on our website. If you go to the top of our new website, which is CorporatePhotographers.com, and if you can see right on the top, there's our YouTube icon right at the top. When you click on that, that will get you right to our YouTube channel. It's a direct link to there now. You'll see that open up in just a second here as we start to get our stream going here. And so as you see there, and if you go right over here to subscribe, you want to click on that. And the real important one is right next to it is the notification bell. You want to click on that, and that will actually give you updates as far as when we're broadcasting, things like that. So it's definitely something you want to do. Click the subscribe button and click the notification bell, and you'll be able to get access to all the different interviews that we're doing with all kinds of really cool people, from seminar promoters to people in the trade show business, and all kinds of neat stuff. At the end of this broadcast, I'll be talking about the next person we're going to be having on next Tuesday, who's going to be a real treat. You guys are really going to love her a lot. So make sure you like and subscribe to that, and that would be here, and there we go. So that was a little funky for a second. I'm going to want to introduce to you my dear friend, Jase Souder, who's on the line with us. Say hi, Jase.
Hi, Jase.
There you go. I was waiting for that. So Jase and I have known each other for, gosh, over 20 years now. And, we've both watched each other grow in our own businesses and see how different things have evolved and how we do things. And Jase is a real treat to have on here as one of our first guests that we're doing on this channel, because he's just has this endless wealth of knowledge on everything from event promotion to how to coach people, and most specifically, how to train trainers. And that's actually what Jase does for a living. Is he runs a variety of different programs, from personal development seminars. Jase is an actual amazing hypnotist, and he works on that level with a lot of people. But what Jase's specialty really is teaching other people how to become public speakers. He's an accomplished public speaker himself, and now he runs this amazing program where he actually teaches people how to do it. But I've been working with Jase. We one of the reasons we have a great rapport with him, aside from him being a dear friend of mine, is Jase. We film a lot of his events. We do a lot of work on a business level together too. So one of the things that we do at Corporate Photographers is we come in sometimes and we do headshots for his students to get them professional headshots. We record small promo videos for some of his speakers and so forth. So we have a really good business relationship and a really good personal relationship. And I got to kind of tease Jase a little bit here too. Before we even get started with Jase, I want to show one quick thing. We do actually have a sponsor for this channel, and that is, I'm going to put this up on the screen here. That's actually Sustain Vegas. Sustain Vegas is helped us out with a lot of our networking equipment to make this live stream possible. They are a wonderful company here in Vegas, and what specifically they do is they're an electronics recycling company, for lack of a better way to do it. They provide recycling to residents of Las Vegas here. So if you've got hard drives or computer monitors or any kind of electronic equipment, rather than throwing it in the trash where it winds up on a landfill and does all this damage, these guys actually will come to your home or office, pick up all that equipment, and professionally recycle it. So they find it either a new home, they wipe hard drives, they do all that kind of material, so you don't have to worry about there being secret information kind of floating around out there. They clean all that out. But they're a wonderful company. They help the environment, and they just do a lot of good for a lot of people here in Las Vegas. So we just want to give a big shout out to Sustain Vegas, and you can find them and contact them to come do your recycling pickup at sustainvegas.com. So one of the other things I wanted to show everybody real quick, Jase, is if I get here, this was a photo that we shot together. If you remember that, I was looking up the date on the photo. That was 13 years ago. We shot this, and we did some marketing photos for you back then, and it was great. Yeah, it was in 2007, if we can imagine that. So yeah, time flies, doesn't it? So how crazy is that, right? So I'm going to put you back up on the screen.
Background, Adam and I were ahead of the curve. Adam and I were ahead of the curve on. Can you put that back up real quick on doing?
Sure.
Cool. This was before Facebook, right? And Adam and I were like, well, how can we get cool pictures? And we didn't have the technology to just do. Well, we did, but it would have been super labor intensive to do quick overlays and splash blurbs. We were doing Insta quality photos 13 years before Instagram. Well,
right? Yeah, no kidding, right? That's like such a total Instagram photo, right? So yeah, how funny is that? So so Jase, a couple questions I want to ask you on our stream today, and you're coming through great. I know you're in the process of kind of building out your own studio right now too, just like we have. Everybody's kind of trying to figure out ways of redoing what we're doing, and so as somebody who does live events like you, I mean, how are you? Well, let's start with this. Let's tell us a little bit about what you do, and how you work with students. Where you're based, where you do your events. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
So I'd like to share the why of my business first. And my why is I believe, especially in the realm of coaches, authors, speakers, trainers, and then business owners that are attracted to what we're doing, but really everybody has something burning in their heart they want to bring to the world. And I believe that you were born, whatever your religious belief is, it doesn't matter whether you believe in God or not. I believe in God. And I believe everybody was born with a God-given mission. Like, there's something they want to bring to the world. And it could be a message for the world. It could be a book they want to put out. It could be building walls in Africa. It could be they want to send their kids to a certain college. It could be they have a dream for a certain family they never had. It could be they want to make this really thriving business that employs a bunch of people. I don't know what that dream is for you. And I believe whatever it is, it can be fulfilled and funded through your business. And so my mission in life is to help people who want to make a difference in the world grow their business. So we say make a difference and make a lot of money. And so how we help people do that is public speaking. Public speaking is the #1 fastest way to grow a business. And by public speaking, I mean public presentations like what we're doing now. The #1 fastest. We could talk about selling one-to-many if you want to in a little bit. And that's where Adam and I met. We were in a company that sold one-to-many, and we met. Adam, we met back in 2002. It's almost been 20 years.
Holy moly. Yeah, it really has been. I know it's been a tremendous amount of time. Time does fly, doesn't it?
I got to give a shout out to you guys. If you have ever wanted to meet someone who just over delivers and serves with heart, Adam's amazing. Like I got to find these videotapes. I used to do a comedy hypnosis show, and Adam took my first shows ever and like somehow made them into good looking demo reels when they were they had grainy shot way before the time of iPhone shot it. Oh, it's horrible. Real quick, also, I need to give a disclaimer on this too.
Sure.
Adam and I, when Adam and I were working together back then, I was launching my comedy hypnosis show, and so when Adam and I get together, we both get funnier and then worse funny. And by worse funny, probably less appropriate for live video.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. We both have interesting senses of humor. There's no question about that. Yeah.
So Adam would help me write stuff for my hypnosis show, and so whenever I see him, just dumb jokes start to come to my head. So that's why I said, say hi, Jase. I had to say that.
That's great.
Yeah, not always funny. I remember one time we wrote this joke. I mean, we wrote this show, this whole hypnosis show, and this like preview for the show. It was so funny, and I mean, it killed, and it killed for years. I still use it today. We wrote that in 2004, 16 years later, right? But it was funny. I went home and I shared it with my girlfriend. I'm like, listen to what we wrote. I'm like, da 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 da. And she's like, that's funny.
A lot of times things are always funnier in our own heads, right? So, yeah, but ultimately, sometimes it's that brutal feedback is sometimes what we all need a little bit.
I think the lesson was don't try stuff on your family members because they're used to your crap. You want to try that on people who are professional coaches or don't know you as well.
Right. Well, and tell us about that. So like, what do you do? So you coach coaches. So, I mean, you train trainers, you teach people how to do public speaking. So what makes you different than like Toastmasters, for example? Why would somebody come to you and want to learn how to be a public speaker? What makes that work?
Well, there's a lot of, okay. So what I do specifically is while it's speaker training, we're not necessarily training speakers. We're training business owners who want to use speaking to grow the business. So for instance, let's use Adam as an example. Adam and I will make videos and promo videos for my people. He also offers, for us, he's nice enough to still offer headshot packages. And I'm come to my event, do an hour and 50-minute presentation, teach some awesome content, and then make an offer. If they want to come do photography or videos with him, they can. So that's an example of speaking to grow your business. I'll speak on a stage and I'll speak in front of maybe 250 business owners, and I'll sell the sales training, or I will sell how to be a better speaker training, and I can do a bunch of sales all at once. So what we're doing is we're teaching people how to use the tools of public speaking to grow their business. Toastmasters, on the other hand, is more like how to give a pretty speech. And that's their focus. Our focus is let's make a ton of sales. Let's increase your revenue massively so that you have the time, money, and resources to do what you want to do in the world. And have I told you about iCubed yet, Adam? Did I tell you this?
No. So, no, what's this?
If you're watching at home and you're taking notes, I want you to think about iCubed. And this is something, a formula I just came up with in the last year. So iCubed is we teach people how to do profitable presentations. That's the name of the company, Profitable Presentations LLC. And iCubed is this. It's impact. You want to impact specific people. You want to make impacts into the lives of the people watching. Give them something they can use, touch their heart, give them something actionable, make them feel amazing, like catalyze them into action, combined with tools they can use. So that's impact. When you impact people's lives, they're going to spend money with you because they're going to want more. So now you have income. So when you multiply impact times income, your income is going to jump exponentially. And the more you impact people, the more income you'll make. And then that gives you the time and resources and the influence into people's lives to get more influence in society. So now you've got the time, money, and you have the relationships with people because you've helped them to have more influence. So now the more you have influence, the more opportunity you'll have to make more impacts and more income. So it's income time, it's impact times incomes times influence. And it's times because the more you grow one, the more you grow all three of them. So so what we're doing is teaching people how to do that. And then me as a coach, I'm less concerned. And I'm not just working with coaches, I'm working with business owners, and I tell them to think of themselves as a coach. And I'm less concerned. I really don't care how many times someone ums and ahs or their accent, or we're not going to work on gestures and all this mechanical stuff. I want people to be authentic on stage. So my biggest determinant of how well we're doing is how many lives has our people impacted and how much has their income grown in the last year. And so, for instance, my highest level coaching program is called Black Belt Speaker Training. We have a progression of ranks as they go through, they rank up. And last year, I think 100% of our people had their biggest year ever. For instance, Isaac is a chiropractor. He doubled his revenues in 1 year. Other people broke the $1 million mark. It's been really cool, but that's just evidence of they're using this and they're helping more people. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, it kind of did. So as people learn different skills so what would be like a good example of why somebody, let's say, who's a chiropractor, what do they really need to learn how to be a public speaker for? Why is that important for them if they're just working with patients all day?
I'll give an example of, well, they're probably not unless they somehow have already built their business. Most successful chiropractors I know, especially the ones who are rocking it out. I first learned this from a guy named Dr. Bob in Las Vegas. Dr. Bob would have a Tuesday night open forum, and he would speak and then answer questions and answer. And he would have 30 to 50 people come every week. So now he's got an audience of 30 people, let's say, and he's answering the questions, and he's in front of the room. So now he's seen as the expert. There's a bunch of people in the room, so that's social proof that he's the expert. So now he's marketing to 30 people all at once to come and be his clients. Plus, the more value he gives them in the Q&A, he's just started the path of, I call it step up, step in. He's stepping them up by improving their position in life, and he's stepping them in. They're going to be more likely to want to work with him. And as you give value to people's lives, and you step them up and step them in and step them up and step them in, that's what leads to easier, better sales. So the more people and now I'm talking about live, and with this stuff that's going on in society right now, what's going to happen. But what we're doing right now is alive. I do a weekly Facebook every Tuesday at 11 Pacific. I do Speakeasy with Jase. And so I've been doing this about just under a year now. And I noticed there's people who would tune in. And what's really funny is people started setting their alarm clock to tune in every week. And so I noticed the same faces. And then when those people showed up to an event, they bought the highest level program because there's already relationship built.
Do you have rapport with those people? Sure, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And then Once you learn how to speak effectively, tell stories, you dial in your key presentation, there is a ton of webinars and seminars looking for guests. And so, you can get onto them and then lead harvest, share, have people contact you left and right, and you can really grow your business.
Got it. So as you started to grow your business and you started to evolve, what got you into thinking? Because there's a lot of, there was a point where you said, you know what, I want to be a public speaker. And I know your background originally before you got into this was in real estate. And so, there was a point in your life where you said, I want to become a public speaker. So what made you say, well, you know what, rather than just go speak somewhere else for somebody, what made you think that I want to go put on my own events? And how was that when you first got started? Like, how was it doing your own events for the first few times? Like, what was your learning? What was like the big takeaway you had from that? What did you learn from that?
So I worked where we met. We worked for one of the top speakers, and I was speaking on their behalf. And here's what actually kicked me to go do my own events. I was speaking on their behalf, and I got a certain percentage, and a certain percentage is industry standard to speak on someone else's behalf and sell their stuff. Well, it was brand new, so they're paying me half of that. And that's all right. I'm earning my chops. I'm fine. It was the opportunity I was working for. But they wanted me to sign a non-compete, and I was doing the math, and I was like, I only have to sell like 3 seminars at $1,000 each to equal 60,000 in seminars selling for them. And I was like doing the numbers, and I wanted to have my own brand and my own control and my own business. So like, let me launch my own business out. And it was like this. Because at first, my first time selling on stage to sell on a big stage, I did 96,000 in sales in 90 minutes, but I didn't know why I did good. I actually tell people the story, Adam. So that first guy that put me on stage, he's like, go do it. Where's the training? What do I say? He's like, just figure it out. So I go to Adam. I'm like, Adam, can you get me a copy of the presentation? Like, I couldn't even get a copy of this guy's presentation to do his presentation. So that let me know the frustration and the feeling of helplessness and kind of scared of doing presentations. And I was like this for a long time. And then finally, it's like, I'm done with this. I want to know, what am I doing when I rock? What am I not doing when I bomb? And this is when I'm doing my own speaking now. And so, and I've been creating this home study course on sales, and I was like immersed in social psychology. I was binging all these TED Talks on psychology. I was studying all these sales trainings, and I created a structure and a system for what needs to be said in what order in order to crush it from stage. And it's not like say this word, it's more cover this topic. It's psychological triggers that need to be.
Right.
And so I started studying that. And then what happened was my business did really well. And then the recession hit and all that stuff 10 years ago. And I was praying, like, what's my next thing? And I was really good at speaking from stage. Why don't I help other people become good at speaking from stage so they can grow their business, and together we can change the world? So for me, it's about the money, and we have to make money to keep the business going. And the more money, it's a lot easier to go on a mission trip or to fund a mission trip when you're making a lot of money. And the basis of it, though, is helping people. When your is about helping people, you will do better.
Well, even doing what we do, it's interesting how we have conversations with our clients all the time, and some of them really do get it. Where, like, I'll give you an example. We shoot a lot of seminars, we shoot a lot of big conference. I mean, we shoot for very large 100,000 person attendee, expos, and then we shoot for small events with 10 people in the room. So we kind of cover that whole thing. And one of the things I've learned is that there are some people that kind of get it as far as how media integrates into with their programs, and some people really kind of don't. And so, I know one of the things that we like working with you a lot about is you're one of these people that gets it, that understands that the quality of your presentation makes a big impact on what it is that you're presenting. And so, we see a lot of that when we come into events. And I'll give you an example. We work with a lot of speakers where, and it's kind of frustrating on their part, where they go and speak at some event, and they talk to the event promoters, and they're like, hey, can I get a copy of that? Not necessarily for marketing, but just to learn how to be better. And a lot of people are either like, oh, yeah, we'll get you a copy. And then they never can get it, or they just don't record events and things like that. And so, from a speaker's point of view, we work with a lot just from the educational point of view for them, so that they can learn how to become better speakers. So we actually film a lot of speakers where they're not even going to use the material for anything other than their own level of education to become better, so that they can see a high quality presentation of them on stage, so they know how to become better. Mm-hmm. So as you start to work with your speakers and you start to, evolve with them over time, how do you see that your students wind up getting results from what you're teaching? Like how does that, how do you see that result from you coaching people?
Can you ask the question another way? I'm not sure what you're asking me.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
What do we do?
Okay.
Or
No. So so you work with a lot of different people, from home inspectors to doctors to, a wide variety of people from all different types of backgrounds professionally. So as you start to work with these people and they go and use what you're teaching them, what kind of feedback do you get from them? What are they, how are they measuring their success from what you're teaching them?
Got it. So let me tell you a story about Natalie. So Natalie is a coach, and we work with a lot of coaches as well, you mentioned earlier. And so what she does, she helps people take their ideas and turn it into a product. And by the way, right now, if you're watching and you are a business owner of any type, you need to get online. And there's three parts you need to get online. You need a dialed-in presentation that will be compelling and have people want to work with you. You need to have a way to grow leads and reach more people. And then I really think people should all make a product set. Have some kind of video that people can watch. Like I don't have them up here, but I have tons of videos that I've created. I have tons of audios, workbooks, all of that. Have stuff.
I know because we've created a lot of them for you. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Almost every event I do now, I'll do it once. And here's my tool that I'll give you guys for making products is do it a couple of times with a small group, dial in your stories, dial in your lessons, answer the Q&A. People would be more interested about one part than the other part. And then once you've done that a couple of times, you'll have really rich content, then record it live or then go into video and record it. So talking about that, and you were asking me like, what's the progression people have? So Natalie had this business, and she, in the 6 months, she was kind of going full-time or full bore, 6 months to a year before she met me. I think she had like 4,000 in sales. And then she came to one of our events, and this event, and we'll be doing live interactive on Zoom like this. We can make progress. And then when things click on, we'll be doing live in person. So she came to an event, and one of the things most people need to learn is to quit doing a speech and to just talk. If you get on stage and talk just like you're talking to your, like, pretend you're hanging out with friends, and it's one of those times when you're around friends who love you and they want to hear from you and they're interested in what you have to say, and they're like, yeah, tell me, and you're just like swapping stories. You're like, oh my gosh, I gotta tell you this. Like, if you could be in that delivery where you're just talking to friends, that's the perfect delivery. Don't do a speech. And by the way, as a side note, I think the days of the shiny suits, shiny hair, shiny shoes, shiny belt speakers are
gone. Yeah, it's done. Yeah, it's all over.
Especially today. Clothing. So we get Natalie to learn how to just be more relaxed on stage and less professional and just herself. And then I help her write a presentation that really tells her heart journey of how she got into this business. If you ever heard of like the hero story. So we tell that story, and then we write a close that's very compelling that makes people want to work with her. And the 4 to 6 months after we started working together, she did over 20,000 in business. So that's an example of the kind of results people are having, because there's a science and a technique to it. There's a system.
There is, yeah.
So there's a system of your mindset, the way you move around on stage, the way you move around in a box like this on a computer, and most importantly, the stories you tell and the way you tell the stories, and then how you put your content together. So that's an example. Another one is we have people who they were terrified to speak, but then they got that speaking is not about them. It's not about them looking good. It's about making a difference for their audience. And so that opened up the space for them to get on more stages. We have other people in our highest level programs. We do this big breakthrough event, because what's in you is expanded on stage. If someone's nervous, it's expanded. If they're confident, it's expanded. So we do this 4-day breakthrough event to get people just rocking and on fire with life, and then just kind of naturally they get on more stages, and naturally who they are is brighter and better on stage, and so they convert higher on stage.
Well, and it's interesting you say that. We shoot a lot of major conferences that are not like public expos, but a lot of private conferences that are just independent for certain companies or their business partners. And one of the things that we have noticed over the years is that every one of the leaders, and we work with a lot of Fortune 500 companies. I think our last count, we were at over 40 Fortune 500 companies we work with. Everybody from American Airlines to Expedia to Chevron we work with a lot of really big companies. And one of the things I've learned over the years is that even in industries that are very, very tightly knit that a lot of people don't even know exist, but are still really big kind of communities. Whenever we see top executives from all of these different companies, whenever we see people that are presidents, vice presidents, or leaders of industry, they're all very, very powerful and effective public speakers. And it's an interesting thing that we've noticed over the years is that so many of them really are good at it. And for some people, it's just simply going on stage and reading a teleprompter. But one of the things that I've learned over the years is that even reading a teleprompter it takes skill. It really does. People a lot of times just assume that reading off a teleprompter is an easy thing, and it really is not. You still have to have charisma. You still have to have stage presence. You still have to know how to carry yourself, look and address your audience. And these are all components that are many times some people kind of are born with it a little bit, but a lot of this is taught. It's educated, and it's just like learning a skill in anything else. Public speaking is a skill that you can learn. And we see this in some of the top people in any industry over and over again. It's the one consistent thing we see a lot of is they're very effective public speakers. Yeah. And so it's an interesting thing that we see no matter what industry you're in. It's a powerful skill to have. It really, really is. I think people don't realize how important it really is to be effective at communicating what you do, whether, in any industry that you're in.
Yeah. So I had this one community that I started coaching at their yearly event back in 2013. And for 7 years, I spoke at their yearly event. And then throughout the year, I would coach people. And then a bunch of them came to my events. And it was funny because the attendees and the staff, this event, they would bring some of their members up on stage to teach sections of the program. And the attendee staff would come over to me later and they go, that person hasn't been to your course yet, have they?
Yeah.
And they go, that person has been to your course, haven't they? Yep. And it's because your speaker training determines your speaker results. Great speakers are made, they are not born. It's tools, techniques, skills, and lessons that have to be trained. And if you have if someone has not trained in speaking, you are not as good as you think you are. And people compliments out of niceness, and maybe you're okay, but it's not until you get actual training that you jump up. It's like I had someone say to me once, well, I'm not afraid to get on stage. And I was like, dude, I know how to ride a bike, and I know how to jog, and I know how to swim. I'm not ready for an Ironman.
Right, exactly right. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right. There's a difference between not being afraid, not being on stage, and being effective and powerful and being able to communicate your message effectively on stage. It's a big difference. And it's an interesting skill that a lot of people, don't realize how important it is really to have. What would you, if you had to give advice to somebody who's like looking at becoming a public speaker, looking at getting into doing their own events, what kind of a short piece of advice would you give them?
Get trained. Find someone you resonate with and train. So within a presentation itself, there's 3 parts. There's compelling content. There's content that delivers high value and moves people to want to work with you. Then you multiply that. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how good is your content? By your delivery. And delivery means how well do you know stage mechanics? How well do you know stage anchoring? How well do you know how to move your body to influence the audience subconsciously? And then here's a secret thing within delivery. How often do you get the audience laughing or crying? Because if you have no laughs or no tears or no kind of pangs in the heart, then you get no sales. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how good is your delivery? And then your mindset, how confident are you that people will want to work with you? On a scale of 1 to 10, you can multiply those and get a number. The whole number is 1,000, the bottom would be 0. So it's compelling content times delivery times you. So find a way to work on all 3 of those. And then you also asked, what would I tell people who are doing live events? Hire people. If you're going to be making sales for your live event, hire someone to help you structure the event and hire someone to run the events. Don't do it yourself. Yeah. And if you're doing sales, hire a back of room sales team. It makes all the difference in the world.
Oh my gosh, yeah. We see that a lot. Yeah, and it's amazing how people just don't realize how important having a good team is. Can't stress that enough, man. It's just so important for everything that you're doing in business, but especially when you're doing like what you're talking about with live events. I've seen a lot of events go really sideways because they just don't have really good staff backing them up, So, yeah.
I mean, and you have to have good staff to help you run it. And as a speaker, you don't want to be doing anything but speaking if you can help it.
Right.
Like, if you have an event on, my team knows, keep everything negative from me so it doesn't affect if it can wait till Monday, keep it till Monday. Usually
that's a great piece of advice, actually. Yeah.
And then I'll give you a secret piece of advice. If you're someone new and you want to add a little pizzazz or energy to your event or make your event look exciting, hire Adam to come film it.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Well, what happens is when people come in and there's a film crew, they immediately go, "There's a film crew." It's when Adam's got his big multiple cameras, people get like, "Ooh, what's going on here?" It adds we call it exciting imagination, excite the subconscious.
Mm-hmm.
It adds that. It adds an element to the room of like, "Ooh, something big deal is happening here." And then also when they come up in front of the room to share or work with you on exercises, they're being filmed. And so because they're being filmed, it kind of brings out more of their deep-seated stuff. So it helps you be more effective as a coach because you're dealing with more of their true stuff.
Right. One of the things we tell a lot of our clients is when we have large filming crews in there shooting their events is if they're doing any kind of live social media marketing of their event during the event, we always tell them get some like cell phone photos of film crews, photographers, media, any of that stuff going on, because it just helps snowball that momentum of media, that it looks cool, that, ooh, there's like something really big and important going on, and it really makes that look happen a lot, that there's something bigger than what's really happening, even though it might be a very big event. It just makes it look so much more sharp, as part of their social media marketing, especially for that. We do a lot of events where we shoot, like dailies, videos that are, we call them dailies, but a lot of them are really kind of like more like daily marketing pieces, like little highlight videos that we show at the end of the night to like little teasers for the next day. So it's kind of like, we shoot it all day, we run into the editing studio, and then we're like, blasting it out an hour after the event's done to, their Facebook pages, Instagram, all of that. And it just helps to create that kind of buzz. And one of the things we love doing is, showing different unique perspectives of how we film things, but also of the filming itself. It makes it look really cool. That it just makes it look like there's a lot of media and press going on, and people love that stuff. They want to be part of that, and it makes kind of that, drives that energy up. It's really kind of neat. So yeah, cool. Totally. So I'm going to kind of, I think we're kind of about wrapped up for the day. I really appreciate it. I want to put something on the screen here for everybody so they can see it. Jase was, you have some stuff that you wanted to talk about briefly. I know you have some events coming up. I'm going to put this on the screen here so everybody can see it. And just so we can go, if anybody wants to learn more about what Jase does, you can go to this website. I don't need to say it all out loud. You can see it right on the screen. Jase, is there anything you want to talk about real quick with that?
Yeah, what you do with that, that's 101 for a private discovery session. It's a conversation that we can have to see like where you are and what would be your next best steps. And it's going to be truly me serving you and seeing how, what is best for you next, where you are and what's next. It's free. Normally we charge a bunch for that. Right now, we really want to help people. So it'll be a Zoom kind of a video conference like we're doing right now. And when they go on that link, and I'll put it in can we put that in the description of the show or the chat as well? And
I'll make sure it gets in there. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool. And
I think I've got. Yeah, it's linked in the description. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Cool. So it'll take them right into my schedule. You'll be able to see exactly what I have going on and when I'm available, and then private conversation. So it'll be, if you're looking to level up, that could be a great conversation on your path to leveling up. Which really, it's about multiplication of your impact in the world, multiplication of your income through your business. So that's what we're looking for. Really helping people make a big difference and make money. Yeah, it's cool. It's super cool. We had some people say hi too. Robin Kirk, Elizabeth Carr Allen. Good to see you all coming by.
Cool. Yeah, thanks for everybody. Thanks for everybody for watching today. As we're starting to grow this channel, we'll get more and more people. We're just in our infancy. So for those of you who have been watching, it's always appreciated. Again, if you're on our YouTube channel, be sure to like and subscribe and click the notification bell. Jase, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. I appreciate you spending some time with us today. And look forward to all the great things we do together, man. You're a dear friend, but you're an awesome person too. So thanks again for everything. Again, for everybody for watching today, have a great day, and we'll see you next week. On our next program, by the way, on next Tuesday, we're going to have somebody very, very special. We're going to have an actual Vegas showgirl. I'm going to switch back over here. We're going to have a actual Vegas showgirl in an interview that we're doing, and she's going to be talking about street performers and all kinds of really cool Vegas stuff. You really don't want to miss this. She is an amazing, amazing person, and her name is actually Cherish, and she's a dear friend of ours. She's going to be on our show on Tuesday. So thanks again, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you at the next broadcast.